Hey guys, welcome back to Embers and Ash. My name's Ashley, if you didn't know, and today I want to talk to you guys about newborn sleep. Now, just to clarify, I am not a baby expert. I really don't know that much about babies, but I have learned a lot about newborns as I just am leaving the newborn stage with my baby, and I wanted to share with you guys everything that I've learned about sleep. While I was pregnant, I listened to a lot of audiobooks and a lot of podcasts on like everything baby related, so I just thought that I would share kind of ideas with you guys. This is specifically for like new moms who don't really know much. I want to just be able to give you kind of a basis of things to start off with for sleep and like maybe some keywords that you can research into yourself and learn more about, just so you're not like blindsided by things. I don't know, I would have appreciated like a newborn basics kind of video, so here we are. I've just written down a bunch of notes in no particular order, just things about sleep that I want to talk about, and we'll get right into it. So the first thing you should know, when you have your baby, typically they're on a cycle of like feeding every 3 hours roughly. So it's like an hour of feed and awake time. The awake time is very small. Usually the feed takes like 45 minutes at the beginning, and then 2 hours of sleep. This isn't obviously the same for every baby, but it is pretty typical that they're awake for an hour, sleep for 2 hours. And this is really nice because you have 2 hours to do whatever you want. And sometimes I even was like sad that he was asleep because I missed him. But yeah, so that's what happens initially. For some people that will last for multiple weeks. For myself, it only lasted for a week. And then he went through this weird shift where like he would eat and not sleep until his next feeding, or he would eat and sleep 3 hours till his next feeding. So he was kind of unpredictable, but in a predictable way, if that makes sense. And then a few weeks into having Rook, I learned about wake windows. Wake windows are the amount of time that your baby should be awake and alert to get the best sleep possible. So I think under 12 weeks, the wake window is like 30 minutes to 90 minutes. So, and that includes your feed. So right from feed till when they should be sleeping, 30 minutes to 90 minutes. And it really depends on when your baby starts giving you those sleepy cues, like rubbing their eyes and yawning and just lethargic. And that's when you should try and put your baby down. So originally it was like 60 minutes and then Rook would sleep for 2 hours. And then it was that weird cycle. And now we're in a point, he is over 2 months old now, but now we're at a point where he will eat and I'll keep him awake for like an hour, and then he really is showing signs of sleepiness and I can rock him for a couple minutes and then he's passed out for an hour or something. Sometimes 20 minutes, but babies are unpredictable. So then along with that, they also have sleep windows, and the sleep windows are anywhere from 30 minutes to 120 minutes. So like 30 minutes to 2 hours. Like I said, at the beginning, it was that full 2 hour sleep, and now it can be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour just for my baby. And it was really reassuring knowing this information because I wasn't freaked out when he would take like a 30-minute nap and think, what's wrong with my child? Just sometimes that's how it is. Now, since I mentioned rocking your baby, let's get on that topic. I was really adamant at the beginning that I didn't want to rock my baby to sleep or sing my baby to sleep or sway my baby to sleep, just because then they get really bad sleep habits where they need those things, and then eventually it can turn into them needing those things for their entire sleep duration, and when that stops, they'll wake up, which is not good. Oh, also not letting your baby sleep on your chest because they can become dependent on that. But there's a balance of responding to your baby's needs, creating a bonding environment with your child, and creating good sleep habits. That is just kind of like this evolving thing that I'm trying to work out. So like I will rock him because when he gets sleepy, he doesn't always know that he's sleepy. So I'll rock him until he's like really drowsy, like his eyes just shut, and then I'll transfer him to a crib or whatever. And typically when I transfer him, he will wake up, but he's so tired from the rocking that he'll fall back asleep. And I think that that's good because he still is falling asleep on his own because he re-woke up, you know? The same thing with baby sleeping on your chest. I do this often. I don't know if often's the right word, but like at least once a week, because it is so good for your baby and for yourself for the bonding, and it is just some of the sweetest moments having your baby sleep on your chest. So I do recommend that you do it. Not that my recommendation means anything. Just make sure you don't do it every time that your baby sleeps, and then you're fine because they don't get dependent on it. Oh, another tip is chest pats. Oh my gosh, this saves me like every day. So specifically at like nighttime, if he wakes up when I think it's prior to when he should be waking up, if you give him a couple chest pats, oftentimes they'll just get knocked right out, and you don't have to pick them up and like wake them up from picking them up and then try and re-soothe them. Chest pats can work wonders just to get them right back to sleep. At the same time, sometimes they do nothing and your baby needs you. So really, it's just a 50-50 chance whether it'll work. Okay, what else do I have on here? Let's talk about scheduling. So I read books that had like timelines of when you should feed your baby and when the baby should sleep, like at 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever, like a full schedule. And it's not realistic. Not that the books often say that this is the exact schedule to follow, but I really don't believe in not feeding your baby when they're telling you that they're hungry. So I really just responded when he showed that he was hungry. If I did think that it was not the right time to feed, I would try other tactics first, but in the end, I would always feed him. So scheduling. I don't believe in scheduling, like I just said, but I did really like scheduling a final feed and a dream feed at night. So that just means that around 8 or 9 o'clock, I tried to make sure I could line up a feed for that time so that I could then do a dream feed 2 hours later at 11 o'clock. So what that is you're telling your baby this is the last feed before it's nighttime. Setting up a routine for nighttime is really good for them because they learn, oh, this is my long stretch. This is when I'm supposed to sleep the most. So having it at roughly the same time every day is good. The dream feed is this thing where you like wake them to feed so that they'll do a longer stretch at night because they have more food in their tummy. So it's typically like right before you go to bed, you give them extra food so that they're on the same kind of timeline as you for sleep. So I would do mine at 11 o'clock because that's when I would go to sleep. And it's a dream feed because you're like very quiet, you don't talk to your baby, you just feed them, change them, and put them back down as easily as possible. And I did that for multiple weeks, and then one night I skipped it. I can't remember why. And it turns out he slept just as long. Like that dream feed eventually was interrupting his sleep, not extending it. So that's a tip for you guys. After a couple weeks, I think it was at like 5 weeks or something, I found that I could drop the dream feed and it wouldn't extend his sleep any further. Every baby's different. My baby started sleeping 6-hour stretches at 5 weeks, but that might not be the same case for yours, and you might have to do the dream feed for longer. It's something to look into. Like I said, I'm not an expert. And then other things about the last feed is that you want it to feel different, like I said, so that the baby knows that it's nighttime. So low voices, low light, swaddling. There's a lot more things that a lot of people do, like often people will do a bath time every night before bed. That's unrealistic for us because our nights aren't that predictable, but I like to try and, like I said, just do those 3 things so that he knows it's nighttime, and it's worked so far, and he like got with the program pretty quick. Oh, another thing is when you have a newborn, try and keep your house as noisy as possible during the day. This is so that, for one, they know it's daytime and my naps are short, and 2, they learn to sleep with noise. Because the worst thing I can imagine is having to tiptoe around your house all day while you're trying to keep your baby asleep. If right out of the womb you teach them noise is a thing, get used to it, it will extend on until like they go through the 3-4 month regression. That's what I heard anyways. That's when they change their sleep and are more sensitive to noise, and that's just how it is. But I don't know anything about past 3 months, so I'll get back to you when we get there. Oh, I missed another one of those sleeping tricks is shushing. So like sound machines. I don't have a sound machine because I don't want him to need one to fall asleep. Shushing is a really good technique though to help calm a baby. So what I learned was like you want to match the noise level of your child. So if your child is screaming bloody murder, you want to shush real freaking loud so that they can hear you over their own screaming. But once they've calmed down, you can bring down the volume of your shushing because they can hear it at a lower volume. I know some parents are like, I have a sound machine and I run it at the loudest volume and they need it that loud. From what I read, that's unnecessary. So there's that. I don't use no noise at night though. So I don't use a noise machine, but I have something making noise at night, and it's not to help him sleep per se, it's to help muffle noises in the house at night. So like if Josh and I are in bed and we're whispering and giggling and chatting, we don't want that to be waking him at night. So we had in the summer a fan going, and then now we have a air purifier thing running in the room. So it's just a background buzz. It's not extremely loud, but it's enough to muffle, like I said, any noises that we're making, just so that we can not worry about waking Rook. So it's kind of a noise machine, it's kind of not, I don't know. Oh, okay, so another one about training your child to sleep longer at night is don't let your baby sleep longer, or not sleep, but don't let your baby go longer than 3 hours between feeds during the day, because you don't want them to do a 5-hour stretch during the day and then wake every 2 hours at night, right? So that is the case where I would wake my child. I keep pointing down here because he's like literally on the ground right there. That's the point where I would wake my child so that he keeps those naps short during the day and, like I said, long stretches at night. Yeah, again, these are all things that have worked for my baby. Some of them are universal, but definitely adjust them according to how your baby reacts. So Rook's schedule went from the first week being feeding every 3 hours with a 2-hour nap. Then he went into feeding every 3 hours with unpredictable naps. And then he started doing 6-hour stretches periodically, kind of random at night. Then it got stretched to 8. He is now doing anywhere from like 10 to 12 hours at night, which is amazing. So he'll go down at like 9 o'clock roughly and is up at 6, 7, it's all over the place. Like it depends what time he goes down at night, and sometimes things will wake him up in the middle of the night. Like the other night, Josh had a bad dream and he woke up and turned his lamp on, and that woke Rook up, and so I fed him at 3 a.m. and that wasn't fun, but that's okay. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're getting great sleep and it's a good time. So I wanted to share with you what I know, and look into all the stuff that I mentioned if you want more information, because I only know so much. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sleep is one of the greatest gifts that we're given as parents, so I wanted to share what little wisdom I have on the topic. If you want more newborn advice videos, go check out my newborn essentials video where I talk about all the things that I found really helpful for those first few months with your baby. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!